It is very seldom a mere ordinary people, like John and myself, secure ancestral halls for the summer. I would say a haunted house. I will proudly declare that there is something queer about it. I can feel it. Imagine, you're trapped in a web of paranoia and anxiety. Now imagine that this is your reality. Terrifying, yes, but this was the reality of Charlotte Perkins Gilman as told in the Yellow Wallpaper. John laughs at me, but one expects that in marriage. John is a physician and perhaps that is one reason I do not get well faster. You see, he does not believe that I am sick, and what is one to do? If a physician of high standing and one's own husband assures friends and relatives that there is really nothing the matter with one but temporary nervous depression, a slight hysterical tendency, what is one to do? So, I take phosphates, or phosphates, whichever it is, and I'm absolutely forbidden to work until I'm better. Personally, I disagree with his ideas, so I will let it alone and I will talk about the house. It is quite alone, being 3 miles from the village, and the place has been empty for years. It is the most beautiful place, yet I don't like our room a bit. It's a big, airy room with windows that look all the ways. And there's a very funny mark on the wall, low down near the mopboard, this streak that runs around the entire room. It goes behind every piece of furniture, except the bed, this nice, long, even smooch, as if it had been rubbed all over. The wallpaper stripped off in great patches. I never saw a worse wallpaper in my life. One of those sprawling, strangling, flamboyant sort of patterns, committing every artistic sin. It's dull enough to confuse the eye in following, pronounced enough to constantly irritate and provoke study. And when you follow those lame, uncertain curves for just a little bit, they suddenly swing off and commit suicide, plunging off in outrageous angles and destroying themselves in unheard of contradictions. And the color is absolutely revolting, a smoldering, unclean yellow. There's a recurrent spot where the pattern lolls like a broken neck, and 2 bulbous eyes stare at you upside down. This wallpaper has this kind of sub-pattern that you can only see in certain lights, and I can see a strange, provoking, formless sort of figure that seems to sulk about that silly and conspicuous front design. There is one marked peculiarity about this paper, a thing no one seems to notice but myself. In the moonlight, I hate to see it sometimes. It creeps so slowly, but in the moonlight, the paper, it becomes bars, and the sub-pattern behind it is plain as can be, and the faint figure behind seems to shake the pattern, just as if it wanted to get out. I didn't realize for a long time what that thing was that showed behind, but now I'm quite certain it is a woman. Life is very much more exciting now than what it used to be. You see, I have something to look forward to. It's funny, really. John laughed a little the other day and said I seemed to be flourishing in spite of my wallpaper. I turned it off with a laugh. I had no intention of telling him it was because of the wallpaper. The truth is, I'm getting a little scared of John. He might want to take me away from here. I really have discovered something at last. The front pattern does move, and no wonder. The woman behind it does shake it. All the while she's trying to get out, but nobody could climb through that pattern. It strangles so. I think that's why it has so many heads. You see, they try to get through, but the pattern strangles them, turns them upside down, and makes their eyes turn white. But I know she gets out. I've seen her through my windows. It's always the same woman, for she's always creeping. And most women do not creep by the daylight. How humiliating it must be to be caught creeping by the daylight. I always lock my doors when I creep. This is the last day. John is to stay in town overnight, and we won't be out until tomorrow morning. At night, as soon as it was moonlight, I got up and I ran to help her. I pulled and she shook, and I shook and she pulled. And before morning, we had pulled off yards of that paper. I've locked the door and I've thrown the key down by the front steps. I don't want to go outside, and I don't want anyone to come in. Not until John comes. I want to astonish him. I've got a rope up here so that if that woman does get out and tries to get away, I can tie her. Oh! This paper, it won't tear! I'm getting angry enough to do something desperate. To jump out of the window would be admirable. But I don't even like to go near the windows anymore. There are so many of those creeping women, and they all creep so fast. I wonder if they all came out of the paper as I did. But no, I am securely fastened now by my well-hidden rope. You'll get me out on the road down there. I don't want to go outside, for outside you have to creep on the ground, and everything's green instead of yellow. But here, here I can creep smoothly on the floor, and my shoulder just fits into that nice even smooch along the wall. Why, there's John at the door. It's no use, young man, you can't come in. Now he's crying for an axe. Be ashamed to break down that beautiful door. John dear, the key is down by the front steps. He went to fetch the key, and when he opened the door, he stopped short. Ha! I've gotten out at last, in spite of you, and I've torn out most of the paper, so you can't put me back! But now why should he have fainted? But he did. And right along my path across the wall, so that I had to creep over him every time. Alright, so that's the yellow wallpaper. Hope you guys saw things in there that you enjoyed, stuff you might steal and use in your presentations, hopefully. I apologize for being a little out of shape in terms of speech performance. You know, I haven't really done it for 4 years, and I tried really, really hard to get back into some sort of shape for this vlog. And it's also weird performing for a wall, which I'm sure you guys all know, but it's just not the same as stealing energy from audience members. But, you know, I tried. It was a very friendly wall. Anyway, join me next week when I will be doing a vlog on what not to wear, tournament edition. You know, so you can dress for success when you go to your future tournaments, future stuff that's coming up. What should you or should not be wearing? What are things that should stay in your closet? What are things you should possibly burn? Who knows? You know, you might get some cool fashion sense ideas. But I will see you then. Bye!